Hello, everyone. Today I am sharing a powerful English learning story that can change the way you think about money, life, and success. This is not just another story meant to entertain you for a few minutes. This is a journey that slowly opens your eyes, challenges your beliefs, and makes you question the advice you have followed since childhood. As you listen, you are not only improving your English, you are also training your mind to see the world in a completely new way. From the time we are young, we are surrounded by voices telling us what a good life should look like. Teachers tell us to study hard. Parents tell us to get good grades. Society tells us to find a stable job, earn a monthly salary, and save a little money for the future. This advice sounds safe and logical, and most people never stop to question it. They follow it because everyone else is doing the same. But what if this common advice is only one side of the truth, not the full picture? Now, imagine growing up and hearing a very different message alongside the familiar one. Imagine someone saying that money is not something to fear, that it is not evil, and that it should not control your life. Imagine being told that instead of working your entire life for money, you can learn how money works and make it work for you. These words may sound strange at first, even uncomfortable, because they challenge what we have been taught for years. This story begins with a young person who is surrounded by these two opposite ways of thinking. On one side, there is a belief in security, fixed income, and playing it safe. On the other side, there is a belief in learning, growth, and building long-term freedom. Both sides claim they want the best future, yet the results they produce are very different. One path often leads to stress, worry, and endless effort. The other path leads to confidence, choices, and control over time. As you listen, try to place yourself inside this story. Think about the advice you hear in your own life. Think about how people around you talk about money. Do they speak with fear and tension, or with calm understanding? Do they complain about bills and expenses, or do they talk about opportunities and learning? These small differences in thinking may seem unimportant, but they shape entire lives. The purpose of this story is not to tell you that one person is good and another is bad. It is to help you see how mindset influences destiny. Two people can work equally hard, yet one struggles forever while the other grows stronger with time. The difference is not luck. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is what they choose to learn and how they choose to think. While you improve your listening skills, your vocabulary, and your understanding of English, you will also discover simple but powerful ideas about money and success. These ideas are explained through real-life situations, easy examples, and clear thinking. You do not need any special background to understand them. You only need patience and curiosity. So, listen carefully and stay with the story. There is no rush. Every idea builds on the previous one, just like learning a new language step by step. This journey starts quietly with simple observations, but it leads to deep realizations. Ahead of us lies a story of two mindsets, two ways of living, and one important choice that can change everything. The young person at the center of this story grew up listening carefully to the adults around him. At home, at school, and in everyday conversations, he noticed that money was always discussed with tension. It was something people worried about, argued about, and avoided talking about openly. Bills, salaries, loans, and expenses controlled the mood of many homes. Even intelligent and hard-working people seemed tired and stressed when the topic of money came up. In his life, there were two strong influences, two voices that shaped the way he saw the world. One voice came from an educated, hard-working man who believed deeply in the traditional path. This man believed that success meant getting good grades, finding a respectable job, and working hard until retirement. He believed that stability was the most important thing in life. To him, money was something you earned through effort and protected through saving. Taking risks felt dangerous, and talking openly about money felt uncomfortable. He believed that if you did everything right, life would reward you eventually. The other voice was very different. This man was not known for his degrees or certificates. He did not follow a fixed routine or work for a monthly paycheck. Instead, he spent his time learning, observing, and building. He talked about money calmly, without fear or shame. To him, money was not a problem, but a tool. He believed that understanding how money works was more important than memorizing facts in a classroom. He often said that real education begins when you start thinking for yourself. As a young learner, standing between these two ways of thinking was confusing. Both men cared deeply. Both wanted a secure future. Yet their advice led in opposite directions. One taught safety, predictability, and obedience. The other taught curiosity, courage, and independence. The young learner began to notice something important. The man who followed the traditional path worked very hard, yet he often worried about money. His life felt controlled by his job and his responsibilities. The man who focused on learning and building seemed relaxed, confident, and in control of his time. This difference sparked curiosity. The young learner began asking questions. Why do some people work all their lives but still struggle? Why do others seem free even without stable jobs? Why does money create fear in some people and confidence in others? These questions did not have simple answers, but they opened the door to a deeper understanding. One day, during a quiet conversation, the second mentor explained something that stayed in the young learner's mind. He said that most people are never taught how money truly works. They are taught how to earn it, but not how to grow it. They are taught how to spend it, but not how to control it. Because of this, they remain trapped no matter how hard they work. He explained that many people believe hard work alone leads to success, but hard work without understanding can lead to exhaustion instead of freedom. When people receive money, they often rush to spend it on things that look impressive, but slowly drain their future. Bigger houses, newer cars, and expensive lifestyles feel like progress, but they often create new problems in the form of debt and pressure. The young learner listened carefully as the mentor described a cycle that many people live in. They start by earning a salary. As their income increases, their spending increases even faster. They take loans, buy things on credit, and commit to monthly payments. To maintain this lifestyle, they must keep working, even if they are unhappy or unhealthy. This cycle repeats year after year, leaving little room for freedom or choice. The mentor explained that this cycle is not caused by lack of intelligence, it is caused by lack of awareness. People are busy surviving, so they never pause to learn. They confuse being busy with being successful. They trade time for money without realizing that time is their most valuable asset. Hearing this made the young learner reflect deeply. He thought about people he knew who were always tired, always worried, and always waiting for a future that never seemed to arrive. He realized that no one had ever taught them a different way. They were not wrong, they were simply unaware. This realization marked the beginning of a shift. The young learner began to understand that the biggest difference between struggling and freedom is not income, but knowledge and mindset. It is not about how much you earn, but how you think about what you earn. This understanding did not come all at once. It grew slowly through observation, questions, and honest reflection. As these ideas settled in his mind, the young learner felt both excited and uncomfortable. Excited because a new world of possibilities was opening up, uncomfortable because it challenged everything he had been taught.
But deep down, he knew that growth often begins with discomfort. And with that realization, he became ready to learn more, to listen more carefully, and to step further into a way of thinking that most people never explore.
As the young learner spent more time listening to the second mentor, the conversation slowly became deeper and more serious. What started as simple advice turned into powerful lessons about life and money. One day, during a calm discussion, the mentor said something that completely changed the way the young learner saw the world. He said that most people spend their entire lives running without knowing why they are running. They believe they are chasing success, but in reality, they are chasing survival. The mentor explained that many people wake up every morning already tired, not because the work is hard, but because their mind is heavy. They worry about rent, food, school fees, medical bills, and future expenses. This worry forces them to accept whatever job they can find, even if it makes them unhappy. Once they start earning, the fear of losing that income keeps them trapped. They are no longer working by choice, they are working because they are afraid. He described this pattern as a cycle that repeats again and again. A person gets a job and feels relieved. When the first salary arrives, there is happiness and pride. Soon after, expenses increase. A better phone feels necessary. A bigger house feels like progress. A car feels like success. But each new purchase brings new bills, new payments, and new pressure. To keep up, the person must work harder, longer, and with less freedom. Slowly, years pass, and life becomes a routine of work and worry. The mentor explained that this cycle is dangerous because it feels normal. Everyone around is doing the same thing, so no one questions it. People encourage each other to get promotions, buy more things, and increase their lifestyle. Very few people stop to ask whether this lifestyle is actually bringing peace or just more responsibility. They confuse movement with progress and comfort with success. The young learner listened carefully as the mentor shared a simple example. Imagine a person who earns a little more money than before. Instead of learning how to invest or save wisely, the person increases spending. The higher income does not create freedom, it creates dependence. Now the person cannot afford to lose the job, cannot afford to rest, and cannot afford to take risks. What looks like success from the outside feels like a cage from the inside. The mentor then spoke about something even more important. He said that money itself is not the problem. Fear is the problem. Fear of not having enough, fear of losing status, fear of what others will think. This fear controls decisions and keeps people stuck. Because of fear, they choose safety over growth. They choose comfort over learning. They choose familiarity over possibility. The young learner began to see the difference between working hard and working wisely. He realized that effort without direction can lead to exhaustion. Knowledge without action leads nowhere. But understanding combined with action can slowly change a life. This idea felt powerful and frightening at the same time. Powerful because it offered hope, frightening because it meant taking responsibility. The mentor explained that financial freedom does not mean never working, it means having a choice. It means reaching a point where your basic needs are covered without stress. When your income is not fully dependent on your daily labor, your mind becomes free. You can think clearly, you can plan, you can help others, you can say no to things that damage your health or values. He explained that true freedom comes when your money supports your life, instead of your life supporting your money. This shift does not happen overnight. It happens step by step, through learning, patience, and discipline. Most people fail because they want fast results. They want change without effort and reward without learning. When results are slow, they give up and return to old habits. As the young learner absorbed these ideas, he began to look at the world differently. He noticed how people reacted to money. He saw fear in their eyes when they talked about bills. He saw pride when they talked about salaries. He saw stress when they talked about loans. And he realized that very few people talked about freedom, peace, or long-term growth.
This awareness created a quiet determination inside him. He understood that if he continued following the same path as everyone else, he would likely end up in the same place. He did not feel angry or rebellious. He felt curious. He wanted to learn what others ignored. He wanted to understand what most people avoided. The mentor noticed this change and encouraged him to keep questioning. He said that asking the right questions is more important than having the right answers. When you ask why, your mind opens. When you accept without questioning, your mind closes. The young learner realized that this journey was not just about money. It was about thinking differently, seeing clearly, and choosing consciously. By the end of these conversations, something had shifted permanently. The young learner no longer saw money as a mystery or a threat. He began to see it as a system that could be understood. He knew he was still at the beginning, but he also knew that once your thinking changes, you can never go back to seeing the world the same way again.
As the lessons continued, the mentor decided it was time to explain the most confusing yet most important idea about money. He said that many people believe they understand wealth, but in reality, they misunderstand it completely. They believe that earning more money automatically means becoming rich. They believe that a higher salary equals success. But this belief, he warned, is one of the biggest traps people fall into. The mentor explained that there is a big difference between income and wealth. Income is the money you receive from working. Wealth is what remains and grows when you are not working. Most people focus only on income. They chase higher salaries, promotions, and overtime, but they never ask themselves an important question. If I stop working today, how long can I survive with what I have already built? He then introduced a simple but powerful way to look at money, a way that instantly cleared much confusion. He explained that everything people buy falls into one of two categories. Some things put money into your pocket. Other things take money out of your pocket. Understanding this difference, he said, is the foundation of financial intelligence. The young learner listened closely as the mentor explained that things which bring money to you regularly are the foundation of freedom. These are sources of income that continue even when you are not actively working. On the other hand, many things that people proudly show as symbols of success actually create constant expenses. They demand maintenance, payments, and attention, slowly draining time and energy. To make this clear, the mentor gave an everyday example. Imagine someone who works hard and saves money for years. When they finally have enough, they buy an expensive car. At first, it feels like success. Friends admire it. The owner feels proud. But soon, reality arrives. Fuel costs, insurance payments, repairs, and depreciation begin. Month after month, money leaves the pocket. The car does not create income, it creates obligation. Then the mentor offered another example. Imagine someone who saves a similar amount but chooses differently. Instead of spending it all on something that loses value, they use it to buy something that produces income. Maybe it is a small rental space, a simple business, or a carefully chosen investment. Over time, that choice begins to return money regularly. Instead of stress, it creates relief. Instead of pressure, it creates options. The young learner realized how often people confuse appearance with reality. Many people look successful because they own expensive things, but they are deeply stressed because those things own them. Others live quietly, without showing off, yet they sleep peacefully because their money is working in the background. The mentor explained that society often teaches the opposite lesson. People are encouraged to buy first and think later. They are told that owning certain things proves their success. Very few are taught to ask whether those things help or hurt their future. Because of this, many people spend their best years paying for past decisions. He emphasized that the wealthy think differently. They focus on building sources of income before increasing their lifestyle. They delay pleasure. They practice patience. They understand that freedom comes first, comfort comes later. Once income flows without constant effort, luxuries can be enjoyed without fear. The young learner began to understand why so many people feel trapped even when they earn well. They are not poor in income, they are poor in structure. Their money flows out faster than it flows in. No matter how much they earn, they remain dependent on their next paycheck. The mentor explained that true progress begins when you reverse this pattern. When you choose to build income-producing sources first, everything else becomes easier. You stop worrying about sudden expenses. You stop fearing job loss. You gain the ability to say no. And with that ability comes dignity and peace. This lesson was uncomfortable because it required honesty. It forced the young learner to examine his own desires. He realized how easy it is to want things immediately and how hard it is to wait. But he also realized that every strong future is built by resisting short-term temptation. As this understanding settled in, the young learner felt a shift inside him. Money no longer felt mysterious. It felt logical. It felt manageable. He began to see that wealth was not about luck or privilege. It was about choices repeated consistently over time. The mentor concluded this lesson with a quiet reminder. He said that the moment you clearly understand what brings money to you and what takes money away from you, you gain control. Without that understanding, no amount of effort will ever be enough. With it, even small steps can lead to powerful change.
As the young learner continued his journey, the mentor explained that understanding money is not only about numbers, it is also about emotions, habits, and daily choices. Many people know what they should do, but they fail because their feelings control their actions. Fear, excitement, impatience, and greed quietly influence decisions, often without people realizing it. The mentor said that fear is one of the strongest forces in life. Fear of losing money, fear of failing, fear of being judged, and fear of making mistakes keep people frozen. Because of fear, many people stay in jobs they dislike. They accept stress, exhaustion, and dissatisfaction simply because a paycheck feels safer than uncertainty. They choose short-term comfort over long-term freedom. He explained that fear itself is not the enemy. Everyone feels fear. The difference is how people respond to it. Some people allow fear to control them, while others learn from it. Those who grow understand that mistakes are not signs of weakness, they are lessons. Every error carries information, and every failure contains guidance for the next attempt. The young learner asked what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck. The mentor answered that the key difference is mindset. People who remain stuck focus on what could go wrong. People who move forward focus on what they can learn. When something fails, they ask why and adjust. They do not quit, they improve. The mentor then spoke about another powerful emotion, greed. Greed often appears as the desire to look successful. It pushes people to buy things they do not need to impress people they do not know. This desire creates pressure, debt, and stress. The mentor explained that true wealth is not about appearance, it is about peace of mind and freedom of choice. He reminded the young learner that happiness does not come from owning more things. It comes from having control over time. When money controls your schedule, your choices disappear. When your money supports your life, your choices expand. This is why understanding emotions is as important as understanding income. The mentor then introduced the idea of habits. He explained that small daily habits shape the future more than big decisions. People often wait for a perfect moment to start changing their lives, but that moment rarely comes. Change begins with small actions repeated consistently. Saving a small amount regularly is more powerful than saving a large amount once. Learning a little every day creates more growth than learning everything at once. He taught the young learner a simple but powerful habit. Always set aside something for your future before spending on comfort. Even if the amount is small, the habit builds discipline. Discipline creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. Over time, these small actions create large results. The mentor also explained the importance of thinking like an owner instead of a consumer. A consumer asks, "What can I buy?" An owner asks, "What can I build?" A consumer looks for discounts. An owner looks for opportunities. This shift in thinking changes how a person sees the world. Streets become marketplaces. Problems become possibilities. Time becomes an asset. The young learner began practicing this way of thinking. When he saw a business, he wondered how it worked. When he saw a product, he thought about who benefited from it. Slowly, his mind became more alert and curious. He stopped seeing money as something that disappears and started seeing it as something that moves and multiplies. The mentor warned him about impatience. He said many people give up because they expect fast results. They plant a seed and expect fruit the next day. When nothing happens, they assume it does not work. But real growth is invisible at first. Just like a tree grows roots before branches, wealth grows quietly before it becomes visible. He explained that consistency matters more than intensity. Doing a little, but doing it regularly, is more powerful than doing a lot once and stopping. People who succeed are not always the smartest. They are the ones who stay committed even when progress feels slow. As these lessons settled in, the young learner noticed a change within himself. He became calmer around money. He stopped reacting emotionally and started thinking strategically. He understood that building a strong future was not about sudden luck. It was about learning, patience, and steady action. This stage of the journey taught him something crucial. Money does not control people. People allow emotions to control their decisions about money. Once those emotions are understood and managed, clarity replaces confusion. And with clarity comes the ability to choose a better path, one step at a time.
As the journey moved closer to its final lessons, the mentor shared truths that went beyond money and entered the deeper meaning of life. He explained that financial freedom is not just about numbers in a bank account. It is about control over time, peace of mind, and the ability to choose how you live each day. Many people chase money without understanding why they want it. They believe money itself will bring happiness, but they never define what happiness truly means to them. The mentor said that success is not about luck or talent. It is about mindset, discipline, and action taken consistently over time. He explained that many people dream of a better life, but very few are willing to act. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect opportunity, but perfection never arrives. The people who move forward are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who start, even when they feel unsure. He gave a simple example. Two people want a better future. One says, "I will start investing when I earn more." The other starts small, saving and learning with whatever little they have. Years pass. The second person grows stronger, wiser, and more confident. The first is still waiting. The difference is not income. The difference is action. The mentor then spoke about failure. He said that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a teacher. Every successful person has failed many times, but they failed forward. They learned, adjusted, and tried again. People who fear failure never begin. People who accept failure as part of learning eventually grow. Fear disappears when knowledge increases and experience builds. Another powerful lesson followed. The mentor explained that discipline is freedom. It may sound strange, but discipline creates options. When you control spending, you gain control over your future. When you invest before you consume, you protect your dreams. Paying yourself first is not selfish, it is responsible. It forces creativity and builds strength. He also spoke about thoughts. He said that thoughts shape reality. When a person constantly thinks, "I can't," the mind stops searching. When a person asks, "How can I?" the mind opens. Solutions appear where fear once lived. Opportunity replaces limitation. This shift in thinking separates those who remain stuck from those who rise.
As the lessons came to an end, the mentor shared one final truth that surprised the young learner. He said that true wealth includes the ability to give. When you create value for others, wealth flows naturally. Helping others learn, grow, or succeed creates meaning beyond money. Giving does not reduce wealth, it multiplies it, both financially and emotionally. Years later, the young learner looked back and realized how deeply these lessons had shaped his life. He had not only built financial stability, but also confidence, clarity, and freedom. He no longer feared money, he understood it. He no longer chased appearances, he focused on purpose. His life became proof that background does not decide destiny, mindset does. This story carries a message for everyone listening. No matter where you are starting from, you have the power to change direction. You do not need to know everything, you only need to begin. Start small, stay consistent, learn from mistakes, think long-term. The journey to financial freedom does not begin someday, it begins today with a single decision. As you finish listening, remember this: money is a tool, not a master. Knowledge is the key, action is the bridge, and freedom is the reward. If this story helped you learn English and also opened your mind to new possibilities, then like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to My Voice of Stories for more powerful English learning stories.